Hey guys, about to get started. Welcome back.
Hello? I'm not even finna look at y'all because y'all gonna make me nervous. Guys, I'm on live on my spam right now and they're watching me. And I'm nervous. Anyways, welcome back to the ReaLysst. I've missed y'all. Happy Saturday if you're listening to this on Saturday. If you're not, then disregard. But today we're just gonna get right into it because we don't need to intro nothing. Let's just get it started, okay? So today I'm talking about how to be alone and like really enjoy your time alone and enjoy your own company. I feel like it's really important to know how to spend time with yourself and not like tweak out, because I've noticed when I first moved into my first apartment alone, I tweaked out like my first time actually being alone, and I didn't realize how uncomfortable it was. Like, you would think that it's not uncomfortable at all and like people like enjoying their time alone, but it's so much more uncomfortable for whatever reason. I don't know why, but this is why I'm here. Okay, so a little story time. When I first moved to Atlanta and to my first apartment, it was a 1-bedroom. I was living alone, but I had a lot of friends over all the freaking time, so I really wasn't alone the first month and a half of me living alone, if that makes sense. So like I was always surrounded by somebody, or just never fully truly alone. And even before I moved out, I was living with my family, so even if I was quote unquote home alone, it was always a dog there, or my brother, or like just another soul, another human being or animal. So I never truly experienced what it felt like to be alone, and I tweaked out the first time that I like basically cut off those friends and I stopped hanging out with them. So the first night that I spent like 24 hours by myself, bro, I remember tweaking so bad. Like, I remember crying, and I like called my mom and I was freaking out because it wasn't even bored. I was just like uncomfortable. Like, I don't know. I was just really uncomfortable with my own presence. And that was when I realized, like, okay, this is not, I thought it wasn't normal. But then when I got used to being alone, and then I got a lot of comments and DMs and just questions about how to enjoy your own company and like be alone, I realized that it's a very common thing. And I feel like not a lot of people talk about it. So here I am talking about it. So a lot of people don't realize how many benefits there are to enjoying your alone time and just like actually spending time alone. Take a shot. There's a lot of underage people here. Never mind. How many times am I gonna say alone this episode? I don't know, but I'm gonna list out a couple of benefits and things that are a good reason why you should spend more time alone if you don't already. You know how like I really hope I'm not the only person that does this, because that would be awkward, but I know I'm not. There's no way. You know how you be talking out loud to somebody, or like replaying a certain situation that went on, or like you're literally reenacting something that happened before or whatever. I know I'm not the only one, and I know you know what I'm talking about. But when I started doing that alone is when I really started to reflect on my actions and like on things that I used to do. And there would be so many like aha moments when you're reflecting, especially alone, because you be saying shit out loud that you would not have said out loud like around somebody, and it helps you reflect. It helps you be like, oh shit, like I know why I did that, or whatever. Like, it just helps you grow in a way if you're self-aware. If not, anyways. Also, another big one is creating your own thoughts. I feel like when you're around other people, like, isn't it the 5 people that you're around is like who you kind of act like, or something like that? I don't know. Humans are mimickers. Is that even a word? Probably not. But humans are literally, it's in our nature to mimic. So when you're around certain people, you start to pick up on what they're doing or saying or how they act. So when you're alone and you actually spend a certain amount of time alone, you're able to create your own thoughts and your own opinions on things. I've also noticed that even on social media, like, I'll be scrolling on something, most likely it's the shade room, okay? And I'll see something that's like, I don't even know what could be an example? Like something that would have multiple opinions, I guess. And if I didn't form my own opinion before going in the comments, I caught myself like forming an opinion after reading the comments, if that makes sense. And that's kind of how it is when you're not alone. Like you talk about certain things with people and you kind of pick up on their own thoughts or opinions, or everybody kind of just creates their own based off of other people. When you're alone, there is no doing that. Like you're creating your own thoughts. It's hard to explain, but like when you live alone, you'll know. Like if you know, you know. But like it's a really imperative thing people don't really talk about. Another thing is you're able to dissect your emotions and like build emotional maturity, because when you, okay, we all know that, well, I hope we all know, but if we don't, now we all know that emotions are very temporary. And when you act on your emotions, you're acting on a temporary feeling, and then you're left to kind of deal with whatever consequence, positive or negative, after you're not in that emotional state. So after you aren't in that emotional state anymore, you're able to reflect, like I said in the first point, and like really think, okay, I was feeling like this, that's why I acted like this, but I probably shouldn't have acted like this. Like it's just a lot of reflecting that goes on when you're alone and you're actually just in your own head and thinking out loud too. If you live alone and you don't talk to yourself like out loud, I don't know how you do it. Like I really don't know. I could not imagine not talking out loud. But anyway, it just helps you realize things. You get to learn yourself and like learn your morals and your standards and the things that you enjoy doing and like to do. Because again, when you're around people and like your friends and stuff, if you're not really the leader type of person who's like always making the plans in the group and stuff, you kind of just go with the flow and you be doing things that you might not even fully enjoy doing. Or you won't even know that you have like a freaking, I don't know, knitting hobby that you love, but you have no idea you love because you don't have time alone to discover that, if that makes sense. Knitting was a weird, well, I'm not going to say weird, but it wasn't, that was just a random example, but you know what I'm saying? Like for me, I love to paint, and I didn't realize I liked to paint until I started painting alone by my pool. I also love to read, and you don't really read when you're around other people. You like can't unless nobody's talking, but you know, it's just a lot of things that you can discover about yourself when you're by yourself. You do things for yourself, like almost not slowly, but like in a romanticized way. So I used to spend literally 24/7 by myself. Like there was a period, probably 6 months, where like I would not really go outside the house, and that was by choice. Like I enjoyed staying home with myself that much that I didn't really care to go do things. I was still doing stuff, you know, by myself, taking myself out on dates and stuff like that, but I truly enjoyed my alone time in my little box, my little apartment. And it's crazy to say that because I remember literally calling my mom crying, like, Mom, I feel like I'm in a box. Like, I literally feel like I'm in a prison cell. Like, even though I have the ability to get out of here, I just be so bored wherever I go with myself. So it was like a huge growth moment when I was like, no, I actually enjoy being in my apartment. Like, I actually enjoy being alone and by myself for days on end. When I tell you I wasn't even able to go 24 hours without being with somebody, that's an issue. And I didn't realize it until I wasn't with somebody for over 24 hours, if that makes sense. Also, it's really easy to get overwhelmed when you live alone, or like not even live alone, just spend a large amount of time alone out of nowhere. So start small and kind of like build up from there. So even if the only alone time that you have is taking a little joyride in your car, or like even going to sit outside or like on your porch or wherever and just read a book, like do something in small increments so you don't get overwhelmed. Because I literally went from being with people 24/7 to not being with people 24/7, and it was a huge shift. I'm glad it happened. Obviously, I was able to become even more comfortable with living alone than I thought I would be. Like, I almost craved it. I did crave it. But if I could do it again, I would definitely start small. So this is more for my people who do live alone or are about to, or are looking to. This is just something to look out for. Not even look out for, this is a good thing, but I really had to learn to like romanticize literally the littlest things, the smallest things.
My daily habits and routines, I was making it like I was in a freaking movie. And it worked. It felt so good to like go grocery shopping. I literally enjoy going grocery shopping. And just little adulting things, or like even when I'm cleaning. Oh my gosh, I would literally clean for like an hour and a half every night before bed and just enjoy it so much, like I was literally in a freaking aesthetic TikTok. Like if you live your life, especially alone, as if you're the main character of a movie, if you live your life as if you're the main character, fuck, it stopped recording.
We gotta learn to romanticize our daily habits and routines down to the smallest things. I feel like when you live alone, it could be very repetitive, like the things that you're doing. So, going grocery shopping, cleaning, laundry, like all the household things. Also, your daily routine, like what you're doing, depending on, your career or like how you make your money, depending on your schedule. Me personally, I'm a full-time content creator, so I'm home all day if I allow myself to be. I really don't have a schedule. I work on my own schedule. Therefore, I'm home 24/7, like I said, if I wanted to be. So with that, I noticed a lot of my days were getting really repetitive, and it's not really a bad thing. It's just you have to learn how to romanticize it. That way you don't get bored. Because I found myself getting really freaking bored. And I was doing the same thing, waking up, making breakfast, like literally just the same routine over and over again. And the minute I decided, like, I'm going to just romanticize literally everything. I'm going to give main character energy with everything I'm doing. That made it so much more fun living alone. Like, it's actually fun. Remember that your thoughts become your reality. So if you think to yourself, oh, I'm so bored, I don't like living alone, or like, this is so repetitive, this is so depressive. If you're thinking these things, that is exactly what's going to come into fruition. That's exactly what's going to happen in your life and in your day-to-day. So in my head, I was like, okay, I could just switch this around. I could literally switch my mindset around. And instead of being like, oh my God, I'm so bored, I'm doing the same thing over and over again, I just had fun with everything I was doing. I started buying myself flowers. I started just doing little things that made it fun to not only come home, from wherever I was at, which, mind you, I really wasn't leaving or coming home very often. But, when I would always make sure my crib was clean before I left anywhere, even just to go get groceries, even to go get the freaking mail, to go get a package from downstairs. Like, I made sure that every time I stepped inside my crib, it felt good. And it literally gets you excited about, oh my gosh, like, I'm about to put on my favorite show, I'm about to heat up these leftovers and just like light this candle. Like, when you romanticize living alone, it's really freaking fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's fun. I enjoy it heavily because, like I said, it's just so much growth there. It's actually absurd. Whew, I'm hot. If you're watching this, you see me keep touching my hair and stuff. I'm literally sweating, y'all. Anyways, what I would do and what I still do is I put on this frequency music. I would just search up like feminine energy frequency music and literally have it on in the background of everything I was doing almost all day. And that, when I tell you, it just adds a little sprinkle, like it's a little cherry on top. On top, girl. It's the little cherry on top for real when you're doing like quote unquote basic things. So when I would get in the shower, I would like turn it on and I would just take my time with everything I was doing and just really being present. And that's also a feminine like trait, like a feminine energy type of trait, just being very present and just romanticizing everything you're doing. And that's exactly what I did, and it felt so good. Like, just try it. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. And it obviously doesn't have to be feminine energy music, just any sort of like frequency music where it's, or even music that you like. Me personally, I get a little distracted and then I do a whole concert in the mirror, so I stopped doing that. but just frequency music that makes you feel good and like you're in a freaking movie. That's the goal. Because once you reach that, I'm telling you, like, everything is just gonna be so fun. Another thing when it comes to romanticizing your time alone, spend time with yourself, not only in the crib or wherever you're at or wherever you spend the most time alone. Switch it up. Take yourself out on dates. Go have a little picnic with yourself. Take yourself out to dinner or go shopping and just like truly enjoy your time alone. I like to go to the park a lot. I haven't recently, to be honest, but you know, being out in nature, painting, journaling, whatever you like to do, kind of switch up the scenery. I loved when it was hot. It's warming up again, okay? But I love going to the pool and literally either journaling or reading or tanning or all of the above and just enjoying peace and quiet. You know that peace and quiet where it's quiet because you haven't opened your mouth in hours or minutes or whatever. That chef's kiss, okay? But yeah, just like remember to fill up your own cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. You cannot pour all of your energy into other people because you're not going to have any for yourself. And that kind of ties into self-love, which I did want to, you know, hit on a little bit in this episode too, which we will do a whole nother episode, like a whole dedicated one. And I honestly haven't even written the outline for it yet, and I love the episode already. But pour that energy that you're used to pouring into others into yourself and see how much you glow, girl or boy. You know, this is for everybody, but let's, you know, that way when you're alone, your energy isn't just being like kind of built up inside of you. It's energy is constantly moving. It's just taking forms of different things. So when you are building up energy and you're not really doing anything with it and you're just sitting with it, especially emotions, it doesn't go anywhere. So it just builds up in you. And then, you know, that's how the term like, oh, bottling up so and so and then exploding, that's where that comes from. That's the energy literally building up and not having a way to escape. So give it a way to escape. Do things that you can release, you know, whatever energy, if it's negative or like negative emotions or whatever, just feelings of boredom or frustration or overwhelmed, whatever, like just do something with that energy. Go outside, journal. That's a really big thing, honestly. That helps me personally. I'm really good at expressing myself through writing, so me personally, journaling is gonna do it for me every time. But yeah, definitely pour that energy into yourself and like really do things that you enjoy. Go on a 20-minute drive for some ice cream. Like just do stuff that you know would make you happy. And also this is kind of funny, but I remember when I was a kid and like I would ask my mom, or my mom would ask me and my brother like, oh, what do you guys want to eat or whatever, like if we were eating out. And me and my brother would say two different things, but then like both of those options sounded good and like we low-key wanted both, and she would be like, no, I'm not going to both places, like I'm only going to one place. You know, if you know, you know. Like, okay, now that I'm grown and got my own car and my own schedule, I will go to two different restaurants if I'm craving both. And it's so small, but it's the principle. It's the fact that you are able to do what you want to do. And doing it alone on top of that is just like a form of self-care for me. Like just doing what I want to do. I want to go to Chipotle and McDonald's. I'm going to go to both. Like, and it's not a problem. Like, where are we going first? Like, it's not a problem. So just little things like that. It really does make a difference when you just take care of yourself. Like, you know. So this is like kind of going back to what I was saying about the self-love. This is kind of touching on that a little bit. Remember that no one will love you the way that you want or desire until you show that love to yourself. People don't know how to treat you until they see how you treat yourself, if that makes sense. So if you respect your time and you respect your energy and your boundaries and what you like and what you don't like, other people will see that and they will respect it as well. I've noticed that until I learned my self-worth and my boundaries and just self-respect in general, people stopped playing with me. Basically, people knew better than to either say certain things or do certain things knowing, like it's like an unspoken thing. You just kind of know. And especially when it's something that you can see on the external. For example, like if somebody's always got, and this is just an example, this does not always mean whatever. If somebody is always put together, always looking cute, always got that shit on, hair done, makeup done, nails done, whatever. If somebody like that were to encounter somebody, I don't even know where I was going with that, or like how I was trying to word that, but basically that person physically looks like she takes care of herself. So of course, if a man tries to come into her life and not offer that same sort of like care, if that makes sense, she's not going for it, and he'll just know better. I don't know if that makes sense. I really don't know what I'm trying to say. Sometimes my thoughts sound way more clear than my words. So, but yeah, like how you view yourself and treat yourself and respect yourself is exactly how others are going to view you and treat you and respect you. But yeah, back to like kind of being alone. It is going to be uncomfortable at first. Like I said, I literally tweaked out the first like couple days that I was truly alone. It's not a very comfortable feeling when you don't know what to do with all of your thoughts and like emotions and stuff like that, especially when you have a bad day. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I had like just a shitty day, and I had a lot of emotions pent up and no one to talk to. Like, of course, okay. See, me and my mom, we go together real bad, and I be telling her everything. But I also realized, like, okay, every time I'm bored or uncomfortable, I call my mom or I call my friends. And that's kind of avoiding the whole point of being alone. If you're picking up the phone every time you're bored or like uncomfortable with yourself, you're still avoiding being alone in a way. Of course, you're still alone in the room or the whatever house, but you're not alone because you're talking to somebody else. So even like putting on a YouTube video in the background while you're like doing stuff, because also that's another thing is like the dead silence, bro. That shit, oh my gosh, that bothered me for so long. Like any little noise that I heard that did not come from me, I was on the lookout like, what the heck was that? It's an adjustment. That's what it is. It's just an adjustment. And if you avoid it and avoid the pure aloneness, I know that's not a word, but you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean? If you avoid it, like the longer you avoid it, the longer it's just gonna be there. Like you have to get through it, not kind of avoid it or run away from it, because at the end of the day, you're gonna go to sleep and be purely alone and then be in your thoughts and be tweaking out. Like either way, it's going to like catch up to you. That's what I meant. It's gonna catch up to you. So yeah, just remember, like I said, it is an adjustment, so don't be hard on yourself. I remember being very hard on myself about being bored with myself and being frustrated and a little overstimulated, like, oh my gosh, I'm really alone. Like it's just me, myself, and I. And that is a big adjustment, and it is a huge thing that you wouldn't even think was huge, if that makes sense. And that's why it kind of sneaks up on you. So just don't be hard on yourself. It's okay to not be okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. You'll be looking back in a couple weeks like, dang, I've made a lot of progress, because it happens pretty fast as long as you allow it, and you become self-aware. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and also nothing changes if you don't become aware of whatever it is that you're trying to change. So if you are almost resistant to the thought of being comfortable alone, it's gonna just take longer for you to be comfortable alone. But yeah, like being alone, honestly, having that peace of quiet where you're able to reflect on the things that you're thinking of, and like, reflecting on your actions, your reactions and thoughts and etc. It's very peaceful, and it is a huge form of not only self-love but self-growth. So just look at it like that. Like it's a positive. As much as it's uncomfortable, anything that has to do with growth is uncomfortable. So you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, honestly. Growth in itself, in any aspect, in the gym, mentally, emotionally, wherever, it's not comfortable. Even when you're physically growing, like growing up as a kid, growth spurt pains, can we talk about that? Like, why was my knees and my joints literally hurting like I was 80? I don't know, but any sort of growth is uncomfortable. So the sooner you get, comfortable with that and the idea of it being uncomfortable, it's a little bit easier for you to accept it. So I'm concluding this episode now. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching, if you guys are watching on my YouTube channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned a little thing or two. And just remember, it's okay to not be okay. And it's a journey. Everything is a journey. It's going to be a journey getting used to being alone. But I promise, once you get comfortable with yourself and you're romanticizing and doing all the things that we talked about, you will feel a lot better about, spending time alone and enjoying your own company. So thank you guys for watching / listening. I will see you guys or hear you guys, I don't know, every Saturday. So thank you for tuning into episode 2. I will catch you guys next week. And until then, bye.